if your child's a fussy eater and it's pushing your patience, you aren't alone. In fact, more than half of children will display some fussy eating habits at some point.
But with desperate parents using outdated methods to try and entice their child to eat, could your well-intentioned attempts be doing more harm than good? Child nutritionist Charlotte Stirling-Reed joins us now. Hi, Charlotte.
Charlotte, thanks for joining us.
And people get so irate about it, don't they?
Yeah.
Parents kind of sometimes are losing the will to live.
I have parents tell me constantly, I'm tearing my hair out, I've tried everything, I'm at the end of my tether. And it's really understandable, isn't it? Because feeding kids is actually fueling their growth, their development. They need food to survive. So if there's a problem in that area, you can so see how it really is a big problem for parents.
So what is it that makes children fussy eaters?
Well, it's a really good question because I think this is key for a lot of families. We know that fussy eating is caused not by one single factor, it's so many things. So it might be genetics, it might be their personality, it might be their experiences with food, but also, really importantly, children around 18 months to 3 years go through a phase of what we call neophobia, and that's where they become a little bit more afraid and aware of new foods or unfamiliar foods. And this is thought to be kind of an instinct that in life would protect them from eating anything that they shouldn't eat. However, in society now, we don't really come across that. Most of the foods we're giving kids are safe for them to have, but actually the neophobia is still there. So what I like parents to know is it's very, very normal. It's actually a developmental phase. And if we can expect it and accept it, it becomes a lot easier. So we don't end up tearing our hair out quite so much. But there's still a lot you can do.
OK, so we're going to talk about the things we can do in just a second. What are we doing wrong? What are those big no-nos to you where you're like, you shouldn't be doing this at all?
It's a really hard thing to hear sometimes, but I do think a lot of the practices that maybe we grew up with as children weren't really that helpful. So things like rewarding with food. If you eat that, then I will give you an ice cream or a lollipop. All we're doing in those situations is highlighting how that food is better. And the stuff that we want you to eat first is kind of the stuff you have to work through in order to get the good stuff. So we're really showing that that food we think is better, and it highlights it really early on. Also, language that we use around food. One of the biggest things with fuss eating is pressurising. So when we're at a mealtime and we're saying, oh, you ate that yesterday, or just have one bite, or please just finish your plate, or I just spent all my time cooking it and you're not eating it, it's really frustrating. But that pressure, there's actually huge amounts of research that show pressure reduces the willingness for kids to eat. So if we're pressuring them at a mealtime, the next mealtime when they get to that table, they're going to be thinking, no, don't want to be here, negative experience, I'm going to be forced to do something I don't want to do, and it actually affects their kind of future feeling about mealtimes and food. So that, reducing that is key.
But I have to say, I am definitely guilty of that. Like,
Most of us are.
just one bite. And I always say it to them because I'm like, you have to try, even if you don't want to eat something, try one bite. If you don't want to eat the rest, that's absolutely fine. But you have to try a bite, and you have to try as you get older as well, because I feel like their tastes really change too. It definitely has with my little, he didn't like mango. And then I said, just try one bite, and he had it, and he's like, Mum,
I love it.
I love mango.
Well, that's the frustrating thing, isn't it? Sometimes you give them something you know they like, but they just don't want to eat it in that moment, and it is so frustrating. But that is why you don't take it off of the menu. So there's so often, and I speak to loads of parents who say, no, they don't like this, they don't like that. So what they do is they go, they don't like broccoli today, OK, I won't offer that again. And it's familiarity with food, and it's seeing it, and it's seeing you eat it, and it's being exposed to it that makes them want to accept it eventually. So as soon as we take it off the menu, it doesn't help. Yes, exposing them to it, whether that be just give it a taste, and if you don't want it, you don't have to have it, or whether that just be putting it in front of them. Or, like we've got here, doing things like getting it involved in play. If you've got children who are quite fussy and they do not want to have a food near them, having no pressure to eat it, but maybe cutting it into little shapes and using little stampers for them at playtime, all that does is exposes them to the food.
Are we going to play with some food here?
Why not? I mean, I know
ready.
food playing is controversial, but it's actually brilliant as
Why
well.
is food playing controversial?
It's controversial because a lot of people feel that food should be not about play. It shouldn't be messy. It should be orderly. We should be table manners. But actually, we know from research that exposing children to food on multiple occasions is the way that they start to accept it. And if they accept it, what they're going to do.
Can I just show you? This is your beautiful book, How to Feed Your Toddler. This is a gorgeous picture. I don't know if you can zoom in on that picture. Where's two? Over there, sorry. That's what I like to see at a mealtime.
Oh, yes, getting involved.
A lot of mess, a lot of stuck, and real focus from the kids, right? They're loving it. They're really enjoying that process.
Yeah, and that's it. It's exposure. And whatever way works for your family, it's going to be different for every family, but whether it's play, whether it's cooking, or whether it's simply us sitting down and eating it with them, it really helps.
I really do try and do that, and it's so hard for everybody out there. And it doesn't matter whether you're your grandchildren or your children, it's really hard to sit down and have dinner together. But I think the more you can possibly do it, the better. What other hacks have you got for us this morning to help us with anybody who is fussy?
OK, so the first thing I always like to say is us as parents, we need to reduce the pressure and expectation we put on ourselves. What is a perfect meal? What should it look like? Because let's reduce that right now, because no one has perfect meals. No kids have perfectly balanced diets every single day. So first of all, take the pressure we're putting on ourselves off. Second of all, role model. Like we said, eating together, you are, whether you like it or not, you are your kids' role model. They will look up to you and they will learn from observation. So if we aren't eating the foods we want them to eat, they're not going to eat it.
No.
So it's so key to get them to see you eating it. And the third thing is, well, actually two more things. The third thing is the pressure. Turn that pressure down on the meal. Take a step back, take a deep breath, go into the meal lightly. It makes a huge difference to them wanting to be at the table. And the last thing I would say is fun. Have fun around food and mealtimes. Remember, this is a journey. Your child isn't going to go, day one, right, I love food, now I eat everything. It's all about a journey and experimenting. So we're not talking about what they eat right now, we're talking about their relationship with food over the next years, and that is a really key thing to think about.
So there's some really interesting things in there, Charlotte. I'm thinking my two are much older now, and Annie would be laughing if she saw me celebrating the mess in that beautiful picture of you with your kids, because that was not my case around that. I would always be a little bit more like, come on, tidy up around them. And she would always be just get stuck in hands, fingers, face, hair, whatever it was. One of the things you talk about is serving dessert with dinner. Now, unquestionably, because much as I go out for dinner with my friends, I'd always want to start with dessert if I could. And actually, I'm a grown-up, I'm allowed to if I want, but I feel I have to go that way.
Yeah, that order.
But if the dessert had been on the table when I was a kid, I know exactly what I would have wanted, and it wouldn't have been the broccoli and the meat or whatever it was. I would have gone straight there. But you think that's actually quite a good idea?
If you can do that from the beginning, it can have a really big impact, because again, it's that food hierarchy. So we eat through the dinner to get the reward at the end. And what often happens, especially with children who are a bit more fussy, is they just don't want that, because they're like, I want the pudding at the very end of it. Now, I would never say do that every single day, every single meal, offer it all together. I would say sometimes have a pudding that's on the side. I would say sometimes have, maybe it's a bit of fruit, maybe it's some yoghurt, maybe it's some oatcakes, maybe it's some cheese. But basically having a meal that is one meal all in one really reduces that hierarchy, where we're not thinking that's the food that I really want. And if we can try and do that at home as much as possible, put foods on a level playing field so that all food is equal, children actually eat to appetite rather than eating in this preconceived way of it being savoury and then sweet. They actually eat to appetite. And I've seen this in my children a lot, that over the years they have started to go, do you know what, I've got this plate of food here. I don't necessarily want the little bit of cake right now. I'm going to have some cucumber, and then I'm going to have a little bit of macaroni and cheese, and then I might have a bit of cake. And I know it sounds really crazy, but it really
There's
helps.
cake on the table, Charlotte.
There is cake on the table, but you might want to portion control how much of that cake is on the table, so it's not a whole cake. But it really helps them to listen to what they actually want in the moment, rather than thinking, I just want the sweet. And again, it's long term, it doesn't happen overnight, but it really can help them to just go, what do I fancy right now? Because sometimes you might fancy a lasagna, and sometimes you might go, do you know what, I really fancy a chocolate croissant. But we have different things that we like and we desire. And I think kids are often desiring the sweeter food because society almost predicts that for them, that you're going to want the sweet. The sweet is the best.
What about when you're 51? Does that same work?
Depends. Do you want to give it a go next time? Cake and macaroni and cheese?
I love it all. But I know what I really want. I know what I really want. Charlotte's lovely book. There is some amazing stuff in here. The pictures are gorgeous as well. How to Feed Your Toddler is out now.
And